Ladies and gentlemen, the regular scheduled meeting of the Wadsworth Planning Commission will please come to order. The first item on our agenda is public participation. We have one item on our agenda this afternoon, which is a deck outdoor seating for the Wadsworth Lodge, and anyone in the audience who wishes to address the Planning Commission regarding that project will have the opportunity to do so. But if there's anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the Planning Commission on any other appropriate topic, we'd be glad to hear from you. Come forward to the podium and give us your name and address. Seeing none, I'll move on with the agenda. First item is the minutes of the March 10th, 12th, 24th, and April 14th meetings. We could have one motion. I think there's been some modifications. Thanks to Mr. Santos.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of the March 10th, March 24th, and April 14th meeting with the typos identified.
Second.
Heard the motion, the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under old business, the first item is a planned unit development, Vance Farms PUD general plan, and that is going to be tabled again.
Yeah, they're still working with the county and city to address some of the traffic issues at the where the alignment of smoke rise would come out on Hartman. So that's the big issue. Once that's resolved, I think we'll be back.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business. There's a site plan revision for deck and outdoor seating for Wadsworth Moose Lodge at 240 Main Street in the C1 Commercial District. Mr. Kaiser.
Okay, here we go. Moose Lodge. They have an existing deck at the lodge there. It shows up here on your plan. It's rather small. I think it's about 6 feet wide, maybe 22 feet in length. They'd like to expand that by an additional 18 feet and by 34 feet. And it shows up as the black line on that particular drawing. So the deck would be located along the building's east frontage, which is also Main Street. And it would only be about 6 feet from the Main Street right-of-way line. Minimum setback in the C1 district is 50 feet, but the existing building itself has a setback that ranges from anywhere from 22 to 29 feet. So it predates the zoning code, and it does not comply right now. And so again, they want to do this addition. That's probably the only logical place for it. Needed a variance, which the Board of Zoning Appeals did review and grant on May 5th, subject to 2 conditions. One is obviously they got to have Planning Commission's approval of the site plan, and also because of the close proximity to the Main Street frontage, they wanted ADC involvement because you can see from this street view how the topography drops off to the south. So you bring that forward more to the east, you're going to have kind of a gaping underdeck close to the street right of way. So they wanted to see some plans that would show some skirting in this area to keep it from becoming someone walking by throwing trash or bottles there. And then also when it gets close to the property line, they've kind of sketched on the best they could how that deck would look extended out. But between the retaining wall and the edge of the deck, the ADC did suggest it'd be appropriate to put some type of landscaping there. Just one to soften the view, and also to help, in addition with the skirting, to cover that underdeck area. Also reviewed the plan with the engineering department to see if there were any concerns, what utilities were in the area, would they be impacted, etc. And the nearest utility mains are within the the street right-of-way. I think the water line is, I don't think I've got a drawing of that. Actually, I do. The water line is the closest, and it's within the street pavement, so I think it was roughly 15 feet or so. Actually, 21, it would, the water main would be about 21 feet east of the new deck. All of the other utilities are either in the street center line or on the east, near the east property line. So they basically said, we don't have any issues and we don't even need to see a civil site plan for this because, again, I think rainwater impacts are going to be minimal. So I think with that in mind, I would recommend the commission approve the expanded deck and outdoor seating area for the Moose Lodge with the 2 conditions noted in the staff report. They will require a building permit from Medina County, but also before we get there, the deck materials, color, buffer landscaping need to be reviewed by ADC for their final recommendation. So that's all I have.
Any questions, Mr. Kaiser? Somebody representing, you don't have to speak if you don't want. Folks at home can't hear you.
Okay. Well,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
my name's Jason Simmons. I'm a trustee at the Moose. And I don't know if you got a copy of the email that we sent over, but we broke it out, deck materials, deck railing materials, the proposed skirting, and then the landscaping. And we kind of went into detail as what our ideas were. So if you have a copy of that email, that explains that. If you don't, I'd be glad to provide each one of you with a copy of that.
I've got a copy of that email, but I put that on the ADC's agenda.
Okay.
They're the ones that are gonna
Architectural
Okay.
Design Committee will deal with that.
Okay.
All right, anything else? You familiar with the 2
Unless you have any
conditions?
questions that we can answer.
Can I ask, do you plan on outside lighting?
We have outside lighting currently on the small deck we have. We probably won't extend it out hardly any, if any. We don't really need to. It's pretty well lit out there. Our issue basically is when this deck was built, we only had about 200 members. We're up to almost 500 members now. So we do need the extra space. And it, like the gentleman said, that's about the only place we can add extra space. And basically, we're just extending the deck out. We're not making it any fancier, we're just extending it.
Okay.
Also, there will be no means of ingress or egress from the deck to the street. It will pretty much be what you see there extended out.
That's
as I
correct,
understand
sir.
it.
Because we are a private club, we don't want people to be able to get up on the deck and make entry. We do have our main entrance right there at the door. That's basically the only way in or out for our members. Except for in the back, privacy.
Sure. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have a recommended conditions and motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Planning Commission approve the site plan revision for the deck outdoor seating expansion at the Moose Lodge, 204 Main Street, subject to the 2 staff conditions.
Second.
We've heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. Glad your organization is growing. All right, moving on. The other item is a zoning text amendment for conditional zoning requirements for public rental storage uses. We need to set a public hearing, Mr. Kaiser.
Yeah, okay. Back on February 18th, council did adopt a 180-day moratorium on the issuance of permits for any public rental storage facilities. Point was to give us a chance. We had a influx of applications for that type of use, and we wanted to take some time to see how other communities regulated the uses, anything that we might consider to amend our provisions. So actually what I found is that these regulations vary widely community to community. Some allow these as straight permitted uses, no specific conditions. Others have a limited number of conditions, treat them as a conditional permit. Well, actually just one that I found so far. One actually went and actually prohibited them in the city. And any existing facility would be treated as a non-conforming use. But I did find more than a few passed some temporary moratoria, so this is kind of an issue, kind of around the board. I think what I found is that our regulations are pretty much middle of the road kind of standard. Storage uses are conditionally permitted, subject to specific requirements, requires planning commission approval. However, in looking around at not only what's going on here in our town, but what I found in some other communities, I do suggest that we modify the conditional zoning provisions. That's paragraph 154-546, B32, for the conditional requirements for these types of uses. And I broke it down into 5 separate sections. We've got basically general requirements, certain prohibited uses and activity, some design standards, and 2 that I thought we might want to add is 1, outdoor storage of motor vehicles, campers, vans, etc. And then also a provision for converting existing structures into public storage spaces. And we already have one of those in town up on in Great Oaks Plaza. So I attached the existing regulations as well as the proposed. The new language is in blue, and after speaking with Mr. Cummings earlier in the day, you'll see some words that are in red. Those were added after that discussion. So under the general requirements, again, these are basically what's in our code now. Wanted to add some language to clarify that the storage of vehicles is limited to operable non-commercial vehicles, watercraft, campers, RVs, and similar items. The other section, prohibited use activities, again, most of these are already found in our code. I just pulled them out, put them in a separate, in its separate paragraph. But again, these are for public personal storage, so it's not for warehousing or storage of commercial goods that are going to be used elsewhere. Pretty much outdoor storage would be prohibited except in, for what we've got in paragraph D. Again, no storage of accident damaged vehicles, no business activities conducted on the premises. And again, no storage of inoperable type vehicles. The other paragraph, additional site design requirements. Again, we have some of this in the code now, but thought it might need clarified. I think one of the problems with these uses could be excessive wall-mounted lighting, and what's that going to look like. So in addition to the light brightness, a lot of fixtures anymore are LED, and found that the color of that light output is as important, if not more so, than the actual lumens. So looking at that, we put some limitations on the light color, about 4,500 Kelvin. So that's kind of a natural yellowish to white type light. Also some requirements for expanded buffer zones when adjacent to residential zone districts. And again, overhead doors to the individual storage units. Thought it might be to have an inclusion in there that where possible, make those perpendicular to the street so you don't see a lot of the activity from the public right-of-way. Also some light fixtures being dark sky approved, and that eliminates a lot of the spill and regards the light downward. So the new section that I added was for the outdoor storage of the non-accident damaged vehicles, and spelling out some specific locations. Those obviously should be near the rear of the site. In fact, the vehicles will put a maximum height of 12 feet, again, so they don't don't tower over the side fences, minimum requirements for the actual storage space, and some provisions that make sure that whatever you store outside has to be truly screened from the public view. So you're going to have the side yards with either landscaping, fencing, or both. In situations where you actually have storage buildings, outdoor storage has to be behind it. In some cases where buildings are not available, someone wants to do just total outdoor storage, fine, as long as you aren't within the front setback, and you have to have some type of a visual screen or buffer and park the vehicles behind there. What came to mind there was that I think at the old Axelrod dealership, in the middle of their parking lot, there was some type of large screen, and I think in front of that screen is where their display inventory went. Behind the screen was where cars that they got in and they were prepping for sale went, so you didn't see those. So I think that type of provision is probably appropriate. And then the last item, which is paragraph E, talks about some things to consider if an existing retail establishment or an existing industrial establishment becomes vacant. Can it be converted to storage uses? And in many cases it can, and these spell out some of the various requirements that would apply to them. So again, at this point, I would just recommend we set a public hearing for our next meeting. That would be June 9th, I believe. If there's any questions, we can address them tonight, or feel free to call, make any suggestions. But I think, I don't think there's an appetite, and I'm certainly not in favor with total prohibition on these. And I think what we're doing is probably fair. I think we're a little weak on some of the landscaping requirements and lighting. But also, again, the two changes, the outdoor storage. A lot of folks I know in town have campers, RVs, boats. They may not have the room to park them on their site. So I think this allows the ability for businesses to kind of meet that need if folks desire it. So I think that's about all I have right now.
Any questions from Mr. Kaiser at this point? Is there a motion to set a public hearing?
I'm not available on the 9th, so someone else wants to make that?
Okay. We need a motion.
I'll make the motion to set the public hearing on June 9th at 7 p.m. at our next planning commission.
Second.
Heard the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Kaiser, is there anything else for the
No,
commission this evening?
that is it for the day.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. See you.
I thought it would be you.
You got about 40 minutes.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.